Hello, I'm Paula Harris, President of the HISD Board of Education, and welcome to the Student Achievement Show. An effective teacher in every classroom is the first core initiative in HISD's plan to ensure all of our students graduate from high school and are ready for college or career. HISD's most effective teachers are excited and passionate about what they are teaching. A nonprofit organization known as Fund for Teachers gave over a dozen HISD teachers a chance to travel around the globe with the hope that these teachers return with a fresh, creative approach to the curriculum. Joining me to tell us about these incredible opportunities are three Fund for Teachers fellows. Meet 5th grade Longfellow Elementary language arts teacher Terry Marsh. Terry spent her summer in Thailand. Also joining us is High School for the Performing and Visual Arts mariachi teacher Jose Torres. Jose studied the mariachi traditions in California. And Christina Long, a 6th grade math teacher from Johnston Middle School who warmed up to math in Iceland and Greenland. So Terry, we'll start with you. You traveled to Mae Sot, Thailand and taught the children of Burmese refugees. Tell us about that experience. What did you teach and how did they learn?
Well, the students at the school have instruction in Thai, Burmese, Karen, which is their tribal language, and also English, because some of them will eventually end up settled in third-party countries, including possibly the United States. And so English is a second language. I was able to participate in training for the teachers on interactive ways to teach English, and then to actually go into the classrooms and work with the kids. It was wonderful.
And these are kids who are refugees away from their country, living in camps and still getting an education. Were they excited about learning?
Very excited about learning. And I had the opportunity to interview for my project a parent of one of the children who is so pleased to have a job in Thailand peeling onions because there was no work available at all in Myanmar, and her son is a kindergartner at the school, and she had no formal education whatsoever, so she was thrilled for him to have any kind of education. Yeah.
And I understand you took book donations or gifts with you. How were they accepted?
Did. Well, I was with another volunteer one afternoon at recess at the school, and we brought over some really beautiful, colorful, well-illustrated nonfiction books, and so we had some of these books out with us, and we were swarmed by 20, 30 little boys. Are you getting this? At recess, little boys just so thrilled and excited over those books because they had never seen books with colorful illustrations like that. So it gave me a new appreciation of the power and the beauty of books for children. So that was a great experience.
Excellent, excellent. And Jose, you're the Director of Mariachi Studies at HSPVA.
Yes, I am.
And you didn't leave the country, but you went to a great place.
Yes, I did.
You spent the summer at UCLA.
Well, in Los Angeles.
Okay.
What happened was that one of the principal people I was working with teaches the mariachi program at UCLA, or the mariachi ensembles at UCLA. So he does work through UCLA. I wasn't really working with him at UCLA, but there was that connection there.
And what did y'all do?
Well, we worked on. I got to really do a lot of one-on-one work with him. We did some work on arranging.
Oh, good. For
mariachi ensembles. We talked a lot about developing a philosophy for transmitting mariachi music. Mariachi music is really, really very, very different from your traditional Western European music. I like to explain it to the kids that Western European music kind of revolves around the written word, while mariachi music tends to revolve around the spoken word. Okay. Meaning that it's more of it's an oral tradition. It's not really, in its history, hasn't been passed down in a written way. There's a saying in Mexico that says, boca a boca, cabeza a cabeza, corazón a corazón, which means mouth to mouth, head to head, heart to heart. That's how it's transmitted.
Exactly.
So we talked a lot about how to develop a philosophy that incorporates that in the classroom, and how we can develop strategies. And I spoke to a lot of different practitioners, professional performers, some researchers and scholars about how we could bring this together, because right now it's really being taught very much kind of within the scope and box of traditional music, but yet it's got so many elements that are really, really non-traditional that I think appeal to a lot of kids that normally wouldn't go into music. So how can we kind of capture those ideas and kind of put them in a classroom setting without it losing its soul, you know, its soulful feeling.
That's it.
We spent a lot of time doing that, so it was really, really good. And then I also got an opportunity to work with a lot of different local groups as a musician. So it was really kind of like an ethnographic study, if you will. I just kind of went in and kind of participated within the population and did some gigging and just kind of got some different ideas.
West Coast mariachi versus the Southern mariachi.
Exactly. Yeah, that's exactly how it was. Yeah.
Very good. And Christina, we had record 100-degree days here in Houston, and you've got to spend your summer hiking in Greenland and climbing mountains in Iceland. I bet a lot of us would have wanted to be there with you after we went through what we went through. Tell us about your summer experience in Iceland.
Yes, I had a wonderful time in Iceland, and also I spent 2 days in Greenland, and so I was able to do a lot of great things like ice climbing and hiking near Eyjafjallajökull, which is the volcano that exploded last April and grounded all the air traffic. I got to see a volcano off the southern end of Iceland, and we actually baked bread up in the rocks that were still hot, even though the volcano had exploded 40 years ago.
Wow.
And so we had a lot of great experiences, learning a lot of new things that I didn't know about volcanoes and glaciers and the Earth's geography, and also Icelandic and Greenlandic culture that I'll be putting in the curriculum that I'm writing for my students.
That's exactly right. I mean, everybody builds that volcano, you know, for their science project, and you were there to feel the heat 4 years later. Tell me, how do you walk around that? I mean, you're baking bread on it, so are there special shoes? Can you walk on the lava? Or?
Yeah, you can actually, it's actually mostly dried, and so it's just very rocky, and the part that we baked the bread in was just a little rock crevice, and when you touched it, it still felt like you were touching the surface of an oven.
Wow.
And so the rest of it, yeah, you can just hike on with regular shoes.
And what's the outside temperature like?
About 50 or 60 degrees.
And yet the rocks are still hot 4 years later.
Yes, from 40 years ago, 1973.
40 years?
40 years, yes.
Wow.
So,
wow.
Hot enough to bake bread, put in the dough.
Do you recommend the Greenlandic shark dish?
Oh yes, the Greenlandic shark is called hakkarl, and it's actually shark that would be poisonous if you were to eat it right away, and so it actually has to be buried underground for 3 months, and then it has to be hung up to dry for another 3 months after all the poisons have left the body of the shark. Then they cut it up and sell it in the supermarkets. So I did eat that, even though the girl who filmed me eating it in the shop said she actually first vomited when she had it as a child.
Wow.
So she had never had it since, and I offered it to everybody else in the shop who was walking around while I was filming that part of my trip, and nobody else wanted it.
Nobody else wanted it, just in case it had been out 2 months and 2 weeks instead of that full 3 months.
They already knew what it tasted like, so yes, they said no thank you, but having a lot of fun telling a lot of stories and working that into my curriculum with my students, so they're enjoying it.
So you receive these experiences because of Fun for Teachers, and I know their applications are coming up. Let's talk about the organization Fun for Teachers and some of the opportunities that you've seen others do, and why you would recommend it to new teachers to apply. Terry?
Actually, there are several teachers at my school who have gone on Fun for Teachers grants, Galapagos Islands, Europe. There are 3 or 4 of us who've gotten to travel with Fun for Teachers. It's a tremendous source of encouragement to teachers across the teaching community. I would say even beyond those of us who are fellows, it's something to aspire to. I'm mentoring a first-year teacher, and I was sharing with her about my trip, and it's something to look forward to, and just so enriching as a human being, as a teacher. Travel changes you.
It does.
It does.
Well, and it's not just the travel experience, but it's an opportunity. You know, I've worked in both in the secondary public school systems, and then I've also worked at the university level. And of course, as university scholars, you're given opportunities to research and continue kind of to develop your own ideas. That's really kind of the whole point. You don't really get an opportunity to do that in a high school or in a middle school, in a secondary setting, in a public school. And I think this particular opportunity really gives teachers an opportunity to kind of work on projects that they're really interested in, And when you work on something that you're really interested in, you really enrich yourself from it, and it really kind of rejuvenates you in a way that you come back to the kids and they can get that passion from you. And then when they see you kind of going off and doing these things, I think it provides a really great role model and symbol for them to kind of spark their interest in inquiry and travel, and just trying to discover what's out there in the world. So I just think it's every teacher that I talk to, and I'm not originally from Houston, I'm from San Antonio, so when I go back to San Antonio and talk to my colleagues there about it, they're just like, how can we get one? And I'm like, well, you have to come to Houston. You
have to be in Houston. And we're looking for the best teachers.
Yeah, that's right.
So I hear you loud and clear say it's the passion that you bring back to the classroom, the passion along with the experience. I mean, anything else you want to add, how the Burmese children change how you interact with children at Longfellow, or how your Iceland experience, how do you bring that back to the classroom? Christy?
Yes. My Iceland and Greenland experience, I've been using it already in my classroom this year, and the kids are just full of questions. It's amazing to see how you can bring something up and you think it's going to be a 5 or 10 minute discussion, and their questions are just, they're coming out of their mouth before they can even raise their hand. They want to know, what does Icelandic sound like? They want to know, how hot was the volcano? Was it still hot when you were up there? They want to know all sorts of things. And so the way that Fun for Teachers will allow you to take the idea that you've always wanted to implement in your classroom, and they will encourage you to do that, so that when you come back, the children can benefit from, like Jose said, your passion and all the ideas of great things you want your children to see and to experience and to explore and to think about. It's just amazing when you go back into your classroom to see how much the children's eyes light up, even if they were feeling sleepy a few minutes before. They're totally with you, and they're completely engaged.
And Christina, you make a good point. You designed your own trip, right, Terry? It's not that Fun for Teachers said, I'm sending you to Thailand. You
self-designed professional development, and I don't know of any other opportunity that allows teachers to do that.
Wow. Sounds exciting. I know you have to wait some years before you can apply again, but good luck on your second adventure. Thanks for spending time with me, and thanks for sharing your experiences with the children of Houston Independent School District.
Thank you.
Stay with us as we